Hi and welcome
the Faxon blog and podcast. Well, welcome into episode 52 of the Faxon blog and podcast. For those of you who are watching and not listening, hopefully the cameras don't mess with you because we do have a new camera set up. So if we're flying all over the screen.
This is a test.
This is a test. Congratulations. You're all guinea pigs. But joining me and Emily today, the newest member of the Faxon Embassy, which we talked about last week with Gun Girl Jen, we have Ty Van Fossen. Ty, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Ty is a linebacker for the University of Cincinnati, so we're super close to downtown Cincy. And it turns out that Ty and I are from about the same neck of the woods up in Columbus.
Yeah, small world.
Yeah. So if you wouldn't mind just like letting people know like how you got started in the shooting sports and kind of what your background is there, where you're from, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I grew up outside, 45 minutes outside Northeast Columbus, small town. Grandfather's a farmer. And so grew up hunting, had firearms around. My dad and grandpa got me my first gun, which was just little single action, 243 with different barrels, had a 410 shotgun. So grew up hunting. And then as I got older, I got more into it. And my dad has a small firearms business and is a dealer for you guys. So that's really how I found you guys. And then I got into personalizing and building my own ARs and guns and went there from there and reached out to you guys. And now I'm here.
Yeah. Very good.
Like magic. What a story.
Like magic. Well, one of the things that, I think is interesting right now, and it's not even gun world stuff, it's just the position that you're in, with the NCAA opening up name, image, and likeness for you guys to be able to do. I mean, because a year ago, you wouldn't be able to sit here and do brand ambassador work with us or influencer work with us. That would, you would be forfeiting bowl titles, you know? I mean, so how has that been, for you guys, like just for you, your teammates, like other guys, that are in NCAA sports, especially on a D1 level? Yeah,
it's kind of been a whirlwind. I mean, it happened just a month ago and I'm already here sitting doing this. So you can imagine how fast things have moved. It's one day you can't do anything. Next day, it's wide open. You can do anything you want, and for the most part, you can do anything you want.
Not anything. Yeah. Let's relax there, Ty.
But yeah, so I mean, a lot of my teammates, everyone has their own little shindig, doing stuff that they're into. Some guys sign with agencies that help guide them through that and hook them up, or other guys, people will just reach out to them like, hey, you want to post this on your social media? We can do X for you.
Yeah.
So
that's one thing cool. I'll say I love about the firearms industry is that everyone that's like an influencer for the firearms industry or an ambassador for a brand, it's because they love that brand and they love that product. You see a lot of influencers that are pushing like gummies or vitamins and stuff. And you're like, you're not passionate about that. Like when you see people who are showing Faxon firearms on their Instagram story or other, gun related kind of products, you're like, okay, that person shoots that. They know that product. They like that product. Because I've worked with a lot of influencers and they won't show anything they don't like. So at the end of the day, I think it's really awesome to hear that from you because we know that we have somebody that's a true brand ambassador and they love that product. So it's nice that that's now open to you and your peers.
Yeah. I mean, and, for the guys, on your team or, other ones that you just, I guess, know just through the community, playing D1 football and everything, was there any question this year that this was going to come up? Because it did seem like it happened kind of fast, but I mean, it feels like it's been in the works for so long. And then all of a sudden this year, it's been like fast forwarded. Was there like any thought about, oh, maybe it's not happening? Or did they have people like come talk to you about, hey, don't jump on any sort of endorsement train until it's officially set in stone?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's always been rumors that athletes should be able to use their name, image, and likeness, states and stuff. Yeah. They started past it where schools in those states could use it, but not everyone in the NCAA. So the NCAA kind of just came in and said, hey, everyone should have the same opportunity, and did this big so now everyone can do it. And about a week leading up to before it happened is when we started really talking about it and had some meetings, and like our compliance people came talk to like, hey, you can't do anything before this date. You can't make any deals, but once it's there, then you have these guidelines. You got to talk to us, fill all the forms, make sure we're just doing everything by the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really just happened fast because as everyone's talking about it and thinking, when is it actually ever going to happen? And next thing you know, it's, everyone go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating hearing about that stuff. I know nothing about football, so let alone college football. I don't.
She's from Connecticut.
I'm from Connecticut. We don't have we watch basketball. Yeah. So hearing like you have to go through compliance and forms and stuff to be a sponsored individual, it's interesting to me. It's cool to hear about.
It is crazy. And I mean, you shot collegiately.
I did.
But that's kind of like a different realm.
Very
that
different.
Stuff isn't done by the NCAA or whatever.
We did not operate under the NCAA. We were allowed to be sponsored on our own. I shot Browning shotguns that were given to me, and that I never had to go through my team. I never had to go through my coach. I just showed up with new shotguns one day.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, it's different for sure. But the NCAA, I feel like people always talk about it as like this big scary thing. Is it this big scary thing, Ty?
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's always, the NCAA, you can't get in trouble or they just take it away from you,
Yeah.
You want to make sure you do everything by the book because NCAA walks in and sees you're doing something wrong. They'll throw down the hammer real fast
Yeah.
and
It's like Big
put
Brother.
a stop to it. Yeah, it almost is. But.
And I mean, since Ty, you and I both grew up north of Columbus, we had just before the holidays last year, we had former OSU quarterback Cardale Jones in, and he did a build with us and everything. Obviously, national championship guy. Spent a few years in the NFL, did the XFL and everything. But talking about a guy that could have capitalized, on name, image, and likeness in the Columbus market, should this opportunity that you now have been opened up to him at that time, because he was like a fairy tale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Third string quarterback, taking your team through the 3 biggest games of the year, winning a national title. I mean, that's where it's like, he could have done anything there.
Yeah.
It is kind of crazy to hear it. And I promise we'll talk gun stuff, but I do want to ask you because I am a college football fan.
This is a gun podcast?
Yes.
Is that why?
We'll get there. We'll get there. But I just, for those folks who maybe don't follow UC, I mean, you guys made a big splash, well, really for the last few years. I mean, team improving, going undefeated, doing all these types of things in the regular season. Obviously, you got your conference title this year and then, went on and faced Georgia in the Peach Bowl. I mean, that was like
heartbreaker.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaker.
Oh, did you guys lose? I wasn't there. I don't know.
Way to do your show prep. Way to do your show prep.
I like to go into these shows just
totally fresh.
Totally fresh. Surprise me. That's what I like to find out.
I mean, start of the game, gangbusters, and it just shows you that, like, you're not in the Power 5, but like, if you have the right talent, you have the right coaches. I mean, you could go toe to toe with anybody. So just thinking about that, kind of how did you come into the career? Like, when was your freshman year? Just kind of how did you get to, now this year, according to UC's website, you're starting linebacker this year so far, right? As long as camp goes okay.
Yeah, fingers crossed, stay healthy, and I got a lot of good players around me at my position too. So we're always fighting and clawing who can be up there. It's always a revolving door. If you're not performing, you got to have someone out there that can. But yeah, so hopefully this year I'll be lucky enough and it'll turn out good for me. I can continue to be the starter, but yeah.
And I mean, and you guys had a defensive coordinator change this year, is that right? So that's been new and lots of stuff going on because it is tough. I mean, as teams get bigger and more known nationally, so do the coaches, and so
everyone wants to be a part of it. Everyone wants something from it,
Yeah, they got to move on and all that sort of stuff. But
so Ty, you're a linebacker.
Yep.
So I want you to pretend I'm like 5 years old.
Okay.
I want you.
Shouldn't be hard.
I want you to describe to me what a linebacker does.
So we're on the defense side of the ball,
All right.
So
you're defending the ball.
Well,
you're defending the ball.
We're defending them from trying to score.
Got it. Roger.
All right.
Okay.
So you got your big boys up front, which are your D line on defense.
All right.
You got your linebackers in the middle, and then you got your safeties and corners, your fast guys that are going to cover the wide receivers and the people that catch the ball.
All right.
So linebackers a little bit.
Don't look at me like that. Listen, there is a very slim chance that there could be like one or two people in our audience right now that don't know a lot about football. Yeah, I'm guessing it's a handful.
I appreciate you looking out for them.
Those of you listening, if you don't know anything about football, like me, please drop a comment on our Instagram or Facebook so I know I'm not alone.
But I mean, and that's a coveted position. I mean, some guys like, especially getting into the league, could have nice long careers, as a linebacker. It
sounds good. Like, I'm a linebacker. Like, that's not like
quarterback of the defense is what some people call it. You know?
Yeah. Especially depending on the formations that you run and which linebacker position you're playing. Come on. Believe it or not, in the 7th and 8th grade, I played free safety.
The 7th and 8th grade. Everyone, do you hear that? Dustin Wallace, 7th and 8th grade. But MVP.
I didn't even break 100 pounds until after this season, my 8th grade year. I got hit so hard one time. This is a true story.
In 7th or 8th grade?
Yeah, one of the two.
One of the two.
And you'll see why I can't remember. Because I got hit so hard, I came to and I thought I had blacked out. Because my helmet had spun. I was looking out the ear hole of my helmet. I thought I was blind in an eye. I was like, this is how it ends. This is how Dustin goes out.
What Dustin is telling us is that if it were not for that traumatic injury, he would be a professional football player right now.
I mean, I'd be tearing it up as a free safety.
It's not out of the realm of possibility that
I'd be hanging out with Joe Burrow right now. Actually, I'd still be old for the league.
I don't know. Who's the guy that's been playing forever that's married to Giselle?
Tom Brady.
Isn't he really old and he still plays? You could be in your prime right now. You could have so many Super Bowls.
Are you out of your mind?
At least you knew who he was married to. You didn't know his name.
Giselle's husband. Tom Brady?
Listen.
The GOAT?
She probably gets, Tom Brady's wife all the time. I'm just trying to give us some equality up in here.
All right. Okay. Let's
get back to guns.
Let's move
something I know something about.
Let's move into the gun world. So,
thank God.
Luckily, I mean, I know, where you're from, the Croton, Ohio area, northeast of Columbus, and definitely more rural, and for people who aren't from the area, who maybe don't know, like when you're in the city in Ohio, whether it's Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, Toledo, Cleveland, like you feel like you're in any big city in the world, but you go to the outer belts of those cities and like suburbia ends very quickly. And it is like your grandfather was a farmer. Like it's a lot of farmland, it's a lot of agriculture, a lot of industrial business. So, you talked about having like the multi-barrel, like 410 or whatever, did you start hunting or was it just like target shooting or what was, the activity that got you into it?
Started hunting. So with my grandfather being a farmer, we have farmland and have problem with like rodents, like groundhogs and stuff like that. So growing up, shot a lot of groundhogs so they could go in, eat the beans and dig holes in the fields and get in your barns and mess a lot of stuff up. So got in there and then grew up deer hunting, and we got deer and turkey around us. So we have farmland. So I go hunt on that all the time, still do.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, again, for those of you who don't know, like us from New England.
Listen, I know what a turkey is. No, that's turkey. What you're about to say.
When he's talking about beans, the two big crops in Ohio, corn, soybeans.
Okay.
Crazy.
I have lived in the Midwest a few years, so I do know a little bit about corn and soybeans.
A little bit about corn and soybeans. But yeah, same thing. Growing up, my grandmother ran a campground, and right across the street, my uncle had a boat shop, a marina, and more in a rural area. And so same thing, like possums are getting in, tearing up the interiors on these boats.
Wow.
Gotta go take him out. that sort of thing. If there's there's a rabid fox in the campground. You got to go take it out.
Gotta go shoot some possums.
But you said that your dad has a small firearm shop, and that's how you learned about us. So tell us a little bit more about his shop and what you guys do there.
Yeah, so his shop is Kdt Customs, and it's something he started a few years ago as we kind of both got into firearms, and main reason he does it, we like building our own guns, but he likes stippling. He's pretty talented at that. So he does stippling for a lot of buddies of his and clients that he knows. He's in a gun club with like 150 other guys that he just kind of got hooked up with. They go to the range. So he does a lot of work on their guns for them and stuff like that. So that's why he just kind of grew it into this small arms business that, has done well. We're busy. I'm in college, so maybe one day down the road when I get out of college, I'll help expand that and build that brand some more.
Yeah, and what a year to have a gun business, especially a small one. It's. I mean, we've been talking. It seems like maybe the pendulum's swinging back a little bit, getting a little bit back to normal, but it's just changed. Changed so much. And then piggybacking that with, the endorsements and things that you're now allowed to take, I think there's a lot of, kind of closeted gun owners. So I was like happily surprised that you were willing to reach out to us and go, because some people, would just want to touch a gun company with a 1,000-foot pole, you know? And so so I applaud you for being honest with who you are. And my family owns, an arms company. I feel like there's more people even in the collegiate and professional sports landscape that are gun enthusiasts that maybe they won't or they can't, say it out loud. When Cardale reached out to us, I was like, the heck, man. Yeah. Sweet. I had no idea. But this guy, I mean, he's out there hunting, and they go duck hunting, and they're doing builds. He built a Bantam with us, and telling me about all the other people that he knows in the league or retired that, these are the guys I go, that I go out with. I think that there's probably still a little more kind of good old boy, gun owner hunting, from rural areas that's in that sporting landscape that maybe we don't see all the time. Would you say that's decently accurate with what you know?
That's very accurate. I mean, the more I talk to people, I really coming to Cincinnati kind of opened my eyes to that. You really don't know. There's so many of ways that kind of closeted gun owners that they don't really come out and talk to, but you get to talk to them and they're into gun, and you're like, really? And it's just a conversation piece. And that's one of the big things, doing this, I feel like, is just talking about it. That's with other people and talking about it. Sometimes has this bad stigma around it, that they've been told all their lives guns are bad. So they don't want to tell people that, I'm into guns. But if you learn how to operate them safely and learn about them. And then I've taken, for example, through recruiting, I'm not going to say the coach's name, but they had coaches come visit my house, and one of the coaches, he's in his mid-30s. He's never shot a gun before. And we actually, lucky enough where we live, I've built a range at our house. We live on a hill, on the side of the hill, and I got a bunch of metal targets and stuff. It's pretty cool, but took him out there and taught him about firearms and how to safely operate them and use them. And he shot. He's like, whoa. This is, I get it. This is cool. This is fun. So kind of trying to get rid of that stigma that guns are bad, because they're not,
Yeah.
That's such a good moment. Watching someone take their first shots.
Yeah.
It's like watching a baby take their first steps. It's just they get a gleam in their eye, and you're like, yes.
Well, Jen talked about it last week on the show.
Yeah, that's true.
In the last episode, Jen was saying, she does a lot of work with a girl and a gun and those types of groups. And she said, these ladies first time out shooting, they almost feel like they can't have fun. They feel that is this allowed? Am I allowed to enjoy this? Oh. And there's so many different pieces to it, because one thing you'll notice here, it's on our branding and everything, like Bob and Barry Faxon believe in the fellowship of firearms, that there are memories and experiences and things that go along with guns.
Firearms bring us together.
Yeah.
It's a good little choreography you had there. But there's the generational aspect. Mm-hmm. There's the, and whether it's hunting or you just like tinkering, you'd like to target shoot. Like there's something for everybody in it, outside of the defensive purposes. So I think it is interesting to hear and figure out who you think was a gun owner or shot before, whether it was that coach or not, and people you had no idea, which is very interesting to kind of see that build up.
I don't know if it's the same with your dad, but my dad likes to play the game like who's a secret big gun fan in like celebrity world. He'll be like, oh, that guy, yeah, he's a big gun owner. Or like we'll watch a movie, he's like, that guy, he's actually a big gun owner. And it's so funny. You're like, really him? Like I know some of us talk about like Chris Pratt, but some people don't know like Jeremy Renner. It's like a big bow hunter, big gun guy. You like people, there's always this thing like, oh, that celebrity, he's a gun guy, but you would never know. It's not like they're big on Instagram about it. Yeah. But it's always a fun thing to find out. Mm-hmm. So.
And I mean, they got to take care of themselves too, right? Yeah. If you have like an endorsement deal or something that you can't really state it or whatever, I mean, it can get squirrely. I don't guilt anybody for that. That's not at all. That's just kind of the cards they're dealt, and everybody has to make a living. But yeah, that is a fun game. It's not just whenever you ask, you're like, who do you think are celebrity gun owners? They're like, well, Ted Nugent.
Yeah. And then that's where the list stops. It's like, Ted Nugent's a gimme. All right. That's the free space.
That's the free space on the bingo card.
Yeah.
But, before we wrap up, I just wanted to chat with you about some of the facts and stuff that you've done now. Something that Bob will be very happy to hear is you did ARAC. You bought one of the uppers, put it on a mil-spec lower. How long ago did you do that one, and how did you come across?
Yeah, so 3 or 4 years ago, I'd say, it was my dad initially, because he wanted AK. He was looking around, wanted an AK, and just came across the ARAC. Mm-hmm. He's like, this is pretty cool. And he went to NRA show in Indianapolis and saw you guys at the booth, and he talked to you guys. He's like, came back. He's like, get an ARAC.
Yeah. Yeah.
So got the ARAC and loved it. I mean, it's there's nothing else like it out there, Yeah. And then saw the quality of it, and then started buying, when I did builds and stuff, started buying more of your barrels and stuff like that. I just love the quality of it.
Yeah, very good. And we were cobbling you together some pieces today. You're working on your own FX19, right? So we'll make sure that we get some photos and stuff from you for that. But same thing, a lot of fun, lots of new pistol stuff coming. For those of you who haven't seen yet, mag extensions, our modular mag extensions for G19 are out and available now. You go to faxonfirearms.com/modular mag and check those out. And then Ty, if people want to learn more about you or find you on Instagram or whatever, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm just mainly on Instagram. So just at ty.vanfossen is my Instagram handle. So follow me on there, reach out if you have any questions or want to know anything about me. I'll get back to you or anything. And
you're also doing some stuff with our friends at Seven Hills Outfitters, but also Yee clothing, right? Yeah, the Granger Smith brand. So if you're looking to get some stuff from Yee, make sure you go check out his coupon code. You'll find that in his Instagram bio.
What was the name of that company again?
Yee clothing.
I just wanted to hear everybody say it again.
They have great stuff. Like I saw you posted the other day a picture of the Grundy County Auction t-shirt and stuff. If you're into like old school country music, which Dustin is. I sit next to him every day, so it's a mix. It's like old school country music, then like 90s R&B. Yeah, and then like
it's just a rotating.
Listen, I'm the oldest person in this office, and I'm not even old.
He's not old,
but like Robert, Bob's son, who works with us, he's like 19. And so like I'm trying to like school him up and then school her up, and I'm like, oh yeah, this song came out when I was in high school, and they were like in utero.
Listen. I wasn't that young. You're not that much older than me.
Yeah, not that much.
But every now and then I get my Taylor Swift Fridays.
She gets, her and Jay like T Swift.
We do.
You got to do that. Well, before we get going today, just a reminder that we are in the middle of our 1022 Builder event. So if you want to enter to win over $3,000 in prizes, it's featuring Faxon, Volkortson, Oric, a great gun locker from Hornady is on there.
Oh my gosh, I know. I saw they sent that over and we were so excited.
Yeah, tons of stuff going on there. So if you've wanted to get your hands on one of our rimfire barrels, they are available. But also if you want to enter to win, no purchase necessary. Just go to faxonfirearms.com and there will be a pop-up as well as our web carousel there. And if you have already entered, don't forget to get your daily entries in. You could get more entries by visiting the websites and doing all that sort of stuff, even subscribing to this podcast on all of your favorite podcasting providers.
Which, if you haven't done it already, you should now.
Well, guess what we just saw today?
What did we just see today? Oh, please tell the class.
We're back up in the rankings. We're number 19 on Apple today.
You guys made us number 19 on Apple for our category, and we're so excited.
And considering there's literally like a million podcasts, we do appreciate your following.
I don't want to say that I helped, but I helped a little bit.
She hasn't been for top spot.
I'm just adding a little zest,
Yeah, that's what we'll say. Zest. It's adding zest. So make sure you subscribe on your favorite platforms, get in on those giveaways. And then for those of you who are going to NRA show, we'll be down at NRA and we have a special giveaway going on for that as well. Whole new booth this year. We have some new products that are coming out even before we go to NRA. So from the time of this show until NRA. So make sure you check that out. And we'll have the link to our booth on the show notes this week. You could just go to faxonfirearms.com/blog and click on episode 52. Ty, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Ty.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. And go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next week.